Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. So in today's session, we are going to talk about the IFS methodology. So basically, once you purchase the IFS as your ERP, so the next thing is get together your project team, get your SMEs or subject matters experts within the organization, and then you need a plan to implement the IFS as your ERP. So IFS came up with the methodology, which is based on their experience and the feedback from the different clients and IFS partners. So last couple of years, I have been using the IFS methodology, and I have been using other implementation methodologies as well. But um, I would say going through this IFS recommended methodology is very successful. So they said they have more than 75% success rate if any client follow the IFS methodology. So we are going to talk about what are the phases of IFS methodology, and there are other key factors what you have to look at each phase. And with these implementation methodology, IFS has something called scope tool, which is another tool that you can define your scope, what are the areas that you're going to have in the phase one or phase two, and also the predefined some questionnaires and business processes within IFS. It's come with IFS scope tool. So let's move on to the next slide. So yeah, so these are the points that we're going to talk about. IFS. Okay, the first thing is, what is IFS methodology? So IFS methodology is the structured uh, to help IFS customers to implement IFS software to achieve their goals in timely manner and cost-effective manner. So basically, the IFS methodology is consist of five phases. So basically, IFS talk about the initiation phase, then we go to the confirm prototype phase, and then we do the established solution phase. Then the fourth phase is a implementation solution phase, and the last phase is the go live phase. So those are the five phases. We are going to talk about each phase in more detail. So basically, each step has status, purpose, key milestones, what are the deliverables. So basically, as a consultants, we have the deliverables in the each phase. For example, at the end of the initiation phase or the confirm prototype phase, we give you the book of rules, which is basically the back in days we used to call SDD, or the solution defined document. So we give you a document where, okay, this is going to be your solution. And in the confirm or the established solution, we have deliverables, implementation phase, go live phase. Each step, there are defined deliverables, which as a consultant we have to give to the client. And so these are the this is a basic idea of the implementation methodology. And yeah, so basically IFS came up with the solution or the methodology, which is really good. Yeah, so moving on, so the scope tool. So basically, uh, IFS and the IFS partners has access to this scope tool. So basically, if you're a client, you don't have access to scope tool, but you can get the read only or the view only access to scope tool. Basically, in nutshell, scope tool is define, okay, what is gonna be your scope for this particular implementation. So for example, in the first phase you might want to implement, let's say, finance, supply chain, warehouse management, or the project module. Maybe in the first phase two you want to implement the group consolidation. Let's say you want to implement the asset management module, or another module within IFS you want to implement as a phase two. So based on your resource availability, based on your budget, so you can go for different phases. So scopes tool give you the which defines the, okay, what is you're going to implement in the phase one or phase two. Then it goes to the a more detailed level as well. Let's say if you want to implement the IFS finance module, within finance module what you're going to implement, let's say maybe general ledger, ARAP. Maybe you don't want to implement the budget module in phase one. So then you define, okay, so we are going to implement the budget module in phase two. So again, you can go to the another level. You can define, let's say in a payment processing level, okay, what are the steps that we're going to follow? So are we going to use any automation within this particular implementation? So you can define your scope, and you can define, okay, what level of details we are going to do, or what type of technology we are going to look at this implementation. That is basically scope tool. So basically, scope tool comes with the pre-packaged processes, describe how to run the IFS application. Then the processes are structured from top level solution areas to down sub processes and predefined scenarios, as well as defining the alternative ways to run applications. So basically, it has some workarounds as well. So sometimes we might have to tweak the application as per the client requirements. So all these requirements are defined in the scope tool. And again, scope tool creates a good understanding between both parties, what is included in the scope and how solution works. As I said, basically what is in scope and out of scope, and this understanding achieved very early in the process and creates a solid base for clear and efficient project delivery. Okay, so moving on to the implementation phases. As I described earlier, so these are the 5 phases that we have, or the IFS defined as defined in the implementation methodology. So you have initiate phase, confirm a prototype phase, establish solution, implementation, and go live. So let's deep dive and see what are these each phase means. So the first phase is the initiate phase. So this is where you're going to prepare your project plan, and you're going to gather your internal resource team, basically your SMEs. For example, for finance team, you will define, okay, these are the key resources or the subject matter expert for finance area, as well as for other areas. And it could be project management side, supply chain, warehouse management, or you define your, okay, these are the stakeholders. Then you define your project managers and all that, and your milestones and everything. At the same time, at the initiate phase, you will install the application. Basically, when you go for implementation, we have different environments. So basically, you have a sandbox, we call, like, that's kind of your playground where we do the initial setup in the sandbox. Then as we move throughout these phases, you have different environments. So basically, production or the go live environment is that your gold environment, where you have real transaction, but these in different phases you will have different environments to build the solution. Okay, so the next phase is a confirm prototype phase. So this is where we are going to use a book of rules. So basically, book of rule is a outcome of the scope tool. So once you have defined all the components, or the what is in scope, end of the day you can generate a document out of the scope tool. We call it book of rules, or the BOR. So, or in previous world we used to call these SDDDs, solution defined documents. So in the book of rules you have predefined questions, predefined business processes, so within IFS application. So what we do is, the confirm prototype, we sit down with the customer and we go through all the list of questions, and we get an idea about what is the business and what are the requirements that clients need. So basically, in the book of rules, as a consultants, we get an idea, okay, what the requirements of client, and also clients get an idea about what is IFS, what are the capabilities of IFS, all that will come out in the confirm prototype session. So uh, after the book of rules, we specify the prototype. So what we're going to do is, the next phase, we are going to, or the confirm prototype session, we are going to do a demo. Okay, this is going to be your prototype, and once the client approve that prototype, we are going to move to establish. So in the prototype session, we are going to specify the prototype, and we are going to build the prototype, and then we are going to confirm the scope and the prototype. So basically, in my experience, we don't move to establish solution phase unless client will confirm the prototype. So that's a key thing as a consultant and as a client. you have to be familiar with, okay, this is going to be a prototype. It could be 80-20. So at least in the confirm prototype phase, you should have at least your key business processes defined, and you should have a solution for that. And then as well as in the confirm prototype session, if we need any modifications, if we need any creams report or in interfaces, we define all those items in the confirm prototype session as well. So once everything is confirmed, and we move on to next phase, which is the established solution phase. In the established solution, what we're going to do is we're going to start the building the solution within the application, and then we are going to specify the test cases, and we are going to define, if we defined any creams. Creams means uh, customizations, reports, interfaces, and mods. So that's a CRIM, which is acronym. And then in the established solution phase, we are going to train the SMEs. Basically, we are going through a training session how to use our IFS application based on the predefined, uh, based on the solution that we have defined. So we are going to go through all that during the established solution, and we are going to verify the basic data. We are going to verify the roles, and as well as in this particular phase, we are going to do the test runs for migration. So once you have the solution specified, we get the sample data from the customer, and we are going to do the migration for our migration environment. So basically, as I said before, we have different environments. So typically we define one environment for migration purposes. So what we do is we just do different runs or trials to the migration to make sure that we get the clean data from client, and then we migrate all that to IFS application and see the output, how it's going to look like. So that's a basic idea of the build and verify migrated data solution. Then again, we do the training, and then if there's a change management phase, we go to the change management as well. So after that, typically client going to do a AST, application solution testing, or the solution acceptance test. So basically in this uh, this sub phase, what we're going to do is client going to define the test cases or the test scenarios, and they're going to enter real data for the test environment, and they're going to see, or they're going to verify the test results. So another one of the key sub elements within the established solution. So once client is happy with the test results, or after the established solution, we are going to go to the implementation phase. This is where we are gonna build, if client needs any local infrastructure, or any other test, or if there is any gaps, or if the client needs any more training, we are gonna handle that in the implementation phase. And again, we are gonna do a go live trial in the implementation. So what we are going to do during the cutoff phase, how we can do a trial balance migration, how the balance is going to look like, and also client going to do some cleansing between the establish and the implementation phase. And so after that, again, we are going to discuss, okay, uh, if customer needs any end user training, so we are going to support that as well. And then what is the handover process after the go live. So we can discuss all that elements in the implementation phase. So after that, we move on to go live phase. So basically, once you have a go live date, of course, then you have a cutover or a blackout period. Could be weeks, could be days, based on your organization. So then we go to go live, where we're going to do a migration for the live environment, and we are going to turn on the system. That's basically go live. Basically in the go live session, as a consultants, we support clients if there is any hiccups, if they need to verify any data, we just support as consultants for the clients. So basically after the go live phase, what we do is we do a handover solution to the client. So as a consultant, once the implementation over, or after the go live, we hand over all documents. So we hand over book of rules, complete book of rules. Then if we develop any creams, so for all the specs, and if there is any changes to business processes, we are going to deliver all that after the go live. So that's a handover to the client. So that's it pretty much, uh, what we can do during these phases. So in IFS we have clearly defined. So in IFS we have clearly defined what we're going to do in each phase, and there are details for each phases, and there are sub elements as well. This is very high level understanding about the implementation methodology. So just for the conclusion, IFS implementation methodology allows organizations to quickly and confidently tackle new challenges and emerging opportunities, where I put them in a control of what is next for their business. And also IFS implementation methodology are left with the clear rollout templates. So basically, if it is a multinational company and during the different phases, if they plan to implement the same solution for their other companies, we create a template. So by going through the implementation methodology, you have a clear template where you can hide a reusable project documents, which makes it easier to deploy similar solution to other countries, sites, or companies. Specify the cost-effectively rollout of new modules and configurations. So basic idea is, if you're trying to implement in another country or another company, right now, once you implement one organization, once you have um, once you have these templates and documentation, it is very easily, so you don't have to go through the same process again. You just have to go and roll out the solution for the other organizations. But yeah, of course there might be different tweaks, but overall it is very easy, and there are very minor change to your initial solution. Overall, this means the solution can be managed more efficiently over long term, and IFS implementation methodology gives you the tools and process you need to reduce risk, speed up to the market, and create a platform for your future growth. So that's the basic idea of the methodology. Again, just to give you a brief experience. So yeah, there are customers use different approach. I have seen, because as a client, you can either hire IFS, you can you can you can use one of IFS authorized implementation partners to implement, or if you have internal resources, you can use internal resources to implement IFS. But I have seen some customers come up with their own process or the own methodology to implement a ERP. But trust me, going through this methodology is very successful. I have seen customers try to do something different, and in the end of the day, it's gonna damage the business and it's gonna damage the go live date. So yeah, so if you want to do an implementation with IFS or a different partner, I think this is something worth to look at as implementation methodology. Yeah, thank you very much. So that's it pretty much for today's session. So we'll have another session next week. Thanks.